great thing about youth sports, they give young people an opportunity to participate in something that is going to broaden them as people.
I think it's very amazing that Garza Law Firm has made a commitment to help the youth kids with playing different sports.
Guys like Marcos Garza that put their time into being able to help these kids live out a dream. It's made me who I am today.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Just south of Seneca Lake, amidst the rolling vineyards and woodlands in upstate New York's Finger Lakes region, sits a shrine of American motorsport. Watkins Glen International is more than just a racetrack. It's the birthplace of post-war road racing in North America, a worthy test of some of the best drivers to ever sit in a race car. Today, the Glen hosts the NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity Series, as well as a 6-hour crown jewel of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, SCCA Professional and Amateur Racing, ARCA Menard Series, and major vintage race meets presented by SVRA. It has also been home to major concerts and other festivals. Over the years, the Glen has been lengthened once and continually upgraded. A lap around today's Grand Prix circuit still incorporates much of its original layout. The first turn, known as the 90, a right-hander and a good place to pass. Then it's up toward the S's, a series of 3 fast sweeping apexes leading onto the back straight. The cars reach their top speeds here, upwards 170 miles an hour, before hard braking for the bus stop at the end of the straightaway. Here the track doubles back through the carousel, followed by another long straight and into the fast turn number 10, a quick left-hander that's harder than it looks. The last corner, turn 11, another fast right-hander that leads out onto the front straightaway. Racing first came to the Glen here in 1948 in the form of the Watkins Glen Grand Prix, an SCCA-sanctioned event that ran on a more than 6-mile course over the back roads of the town. The success of that event eventually led to the construction of a permanent track. The resulting product, a little more than a third in length of the original street course. In 1957, the track hosted its first race, a NASCAR Grand National Series event, won by Buck Baker over Fireball Roberts. The following year, Formula Libre showed up, and not long after that, Watkins Glen hit big time. 1961, Formula One came to the little town by the lake, bringing with it some of its most legendary names in motorsports. For the next 2 decades, the home of the U.S. Grand Prix was Watkins Glen. The early 80s saw some tough times for the Glen. F1 held its last race there in 1980, and it was all but closed to spectator-free SCCA meets for about 2 years. The track would soon recover, enough under new ownership. In 1986, NASCAR's Top Series returned to the Glen, and with it, a whole new renaissance for the track began. And tonight, NASCAR's back. It's a Superior Class Auto Racing Premier Series, race number 2 of round number 2 of the playoffs, and it's coming up next on HBR TV. Race details for tonight, 51 laps, a little bit better than half of a cup race here tonight. 70-degree ambient temperature, 85% humidity, track temp about 81 degrees currently. And it is the Getting After It at the Glen 125, presented by, well, HBR TV. Myself, Steve Singer, in the broadcast booth, joined by Eric Dotson. Eric, a little under the weather, but how you doing?
Good, buddy. How about you?
I'm doing well. I'm still kind of recovering myself. Different ailments, I guess you could say, from what you're putting up with. But hope you get through it okay tonight. If you can't, we certainly understand. Is what it is. Trackside, though, I don't know if you got some laps into the pre-practice. I know road course racing isn't really your thing, but you tried it anyway.
Yeah, I got some laps in here today. I'm sure you did too. I know it's one of your favorite tracks?
You know, I wasn't going to, but I ended up jumping in and turning a few laps with the guys. Couldn't touch Zach Millett's time, but we got within the 112s. But right now I think Millett and Chris Mefford both would be quicker than me. I'm okay sitting top 3 in a series I don't usually run anymore. Terry Crouch already in the stream chat. Just here because they're turning right. Tristan Sykes as well. I'm just here to watch Fahey wreck. Perfect.
I feel like we get that every week.
As long as you're here, we don't care why.
Fahey's looks like he's 13th fastest right now.
He's out there. He's not the slowest, of course, but Keaton Burnett's doing his best opportunities here to see if he can drift all the way around Watkins Glen. He did it earlier in the session. It was actually rather impressive. We saw him come off turn 11, and he drifted that truck off corner exit all the way down the front stretch up through the S's. It was rather impressive. Subscriber mode is on again. I don't know why, folks. I keep turning it off, and for some reason it keeps kicking on. We'll try it again next week. I can't turn it off mid-broadcast, but it is what it is. We'll jump right into qualifying here, see who hits the racetrack first. We're not even going to watch Zach Millett. Mike Fahey here, Tristan Sykes. Maybe you'll get an opportunity here in qualifying. We'll see.
Let's hope not. Let's see Fahey put it on a pole.
Mike Fahey, originally out of Ilion, New York, not too far from HBR TV headquarters.
This could be his local track.
Not sure if Mike has actually been to the Glen, but for him, it's probably only a couple-hour ride, at least when he was here. I think he lives in Texas now.
He looks smooth so far going around through here.
Truly, he really does. That's good to see.
Yeah, I know some people's had a little bit of problems coming out. What'd you call it? Turn 12, this last one that he's coming up on?
Turn 11 is the final corner. That's the right-hander onto the front stretch. Good exit. I don't know if he lifted there, but as far as visually, it looked pretty good. You want to use as much of the curb as you can without getting a piece of that safer barrier. Get a good runoff out of 11, down the front stretch. You almost want to back up your corner entry down into turn 1, kind of sacrifice some speed getting into the corner so you can really mash the throttle on exit. Try to carry as much as that speed possible up through the S's and all the way down into the braking zone for the bus stop. You can really gain a lot of time if you just get out of turn number 1 well.
Fahey looks smooth.
Really does. Hard braking. He's a little to the right on entry, kind of a shallow entry into the bus stop, but still, he's right down to the bottom. He made it work.
So is lap 1 going to be the lap here, Steve, or can lap 2 be the lap?
It could, but it couldn't. He kind of threw it away there a little bit in the carousel. He's got another opportunity, but in practice we found that even all the way through laps 10, 12, 13, 14, 12-second laps were doable if you had the pace to begin with. So I don't think it much matters. I think the first lap might be a little hairy just because the tire temperatures, tire pressures aren't where they need to be. Most of these guys out here are probably going to be better on lap 2, but Fahey's struggling there off 11. Looked much better on his out lap. Chris Fahey in the stream chat saying, here's some love for the 19. Little 4-leaf clover. $14.99 for Fahey on the first lap. Not a bad one. Zach Millett's first lap, though, a minute 12:48.
That's faster than me. I was a minute 16.
You saw Millett crack a minute 11 in the test session prior to the official session. Was not able to get down into that range during this practice. See if he can shave half a second off the time. I just don't see it happening. Ryan Rose's first lap, a minute 13:62. He sits second on the board. 83 of Brandon Mefford. He was quick in practice as well, a minute 13:97. So far, he's on his first lap. This is Millett's second lap as he comes down the short chute into turn 10. A lot of brake in turn 10, and it's not so much hard braking, it's more of long braking. You got to kind of drag the brake through that corner to keep the truck turning. Good exit for the 315. Steps out just a hair. Let's see what kind of time he locks in as he crosses the stripe. Minute 12:11. Picked up quite a bit. Not enough for the 11, but that was definitely a pole run. Chris Mefford on the track, his first lap quick, minute 13:21. Brian Rose now sits third, minute 13:62 for the number 89. Cool thing about Watkins Glen, it's a fun track. Even if you're not a road guy, everybody seems to kind of know it just from it usually being in the officials, whether you like road racing or not. Watkins Glen is definitely the super speedway of road courses. High speed, a lot of rhythm sections on the track, some good braking points where you can get passing zones. Down into turn 1, turn 10, the bus stop. Those are 3 spots expect to see passes made. You might even see it happen in turn 11 during the race, but that one's a little difficult to do. Mefford's going to give it up here down the short chute, throws the lap away. Vincent Short now, he's just finishing up his second lap. First time by a minute 15, roughly flat.
A little loose.
Little wiggle out of 11. It's very easy to do that. And looks like Vince doesn't make it back to the line in time to check in. Session comes to a close, and that's going to do it for qualifying. Zach Millett on the pole position. Let's take a look at our starting grid from Watkins Glen International. On the pole position, it is indeed the home skillet, Zach Millett. Again, a hometown race for Zach Millett. To his outside, it's Chris Mefford. Row number 2, it's Brian Rose and the 2 of Neil Quick. Starting in the third row, it is Brandon Mefford with Falcon Motorsports and Chris Goins in the 6th, starting 6th. I love when a plan comes together. Drew Blaze in the 1 with Lone Star Racing starts in the 7th spot. Keaton Burnett, the number 26, the Drift King himself on the road course. At least he thinks so. He starts in the 8th position. Mark Truxell with HLC Motorsports. He starts from the 9th position, flanked by Lone Star Racing's Mike Fahey in the number 19. In the 11th spot goes to the 15 of Vincent Short. Didn't quite get that second lap clocked in. Tough break for the 15. He rolls off 11th. 12th, Alan DeFries, the number 71. 13th, we didn't think we were going to see David Bradford tonight, but here he is in that number 46. You're going to see 2 of them. We'll cover that later. Cody Harger with Charger Racing, the number 66, starts 14th. Thomas McMullen, another HBR entry, starts in the 15th spot. Eddie Rose, 16th. And Andrew Locke coming back into the SCAR Premier Series. The road racer himself, going to try his hand at this truck. He admittedly said it, man, this is hard. It's certainly not the LMP2 that he's familiar with. It is a big, heavy stock car, or in this case, truck. We'll see what he can do here starting from the tail of the field. iRacing Porsche safety car rolls away, as does the rest of the field. We're going to mix it up here a little bit, Eric. We're going to pick the second place finisher today instead of the winner. Now, I'm not saying that Zach Millett is a shoo-in because Chris Mefford is right there on pace. He's got pace, but let's go ahead. Since I'm changing the rules, you pick first. Who's finishing second today?
Ooh, changing it up on me. I'm going to go Blaze. Drew Blaze.
Drew Blaze finishes P2. I'm going to go with Brian Rose, finishing P2 today. The tendency is to pick Chris Mefford, but I saw Brian Rose laying some laps down tonight, really put the work in. He doesn't quite have Zach Millett pace. Most people don't, but man, he certainly seems to have some consistency. So I'm going to go with the 89 tonight.
You never know what's going to happen either. I remember a few seasons ago, we thought somebody was going to win right at the end and wrecked in the last turn.
Yeah, I had some issues as well. Those of you guys watching, there's a good handful of you here in the YouTube channel watching the stream here. If you haven't tried to comment or you can't comment because you're not a subscriber, well, now's your opportunity. Go ahead and subscribe. Again, I tried to turn the subscriber mode off. It won't go off. I don't know why. I have to start from scratch next week. We'll get it fixed. But in the meantime, we'd love to hear from you. Who are you pulling for tonight? Where are you watching from across the country or even the world for that matter? Let us know in the stream chat. Again, subscriber. You got to be a subscriber to talk tonight. We'll fix it next week so you don't have to be, but I can't fix it now. Sorry, guys.
We're getting close. We're going into turn 22 here.
It's turn 10. Should have got a track map for Eric.
Yeah.
In fact, I have a track map for Eric. I'll send it to you right now.
That's what I'm
Check your
talking about.
messages. Pace car pulls off, getting ready to go green.
Green flag, green flag.
Boom, baby, let's go.
Field works down into turn number 1. Millett to the inside, preferred lane. The 46 of Chris Mefford to the outside. Millett not quite clear, or is he? He is.
Woo! That was close. Looks like Millett's just going to try to absolutely run away from the start here.
He's going to try. Millett out to a 1.3 second advantage already. We haven't even completed lap 1.
These guys off to a nice clean start here from the beginning. That's what we like to see, though.
Definitely a plus. No fast repairs. Keep that in mind in the Premier Series. I think they get one on the super speedways, but going without the safety net here at Watkins Glen. Also 2 sets of tires over the wall. We didn't talk about the stage break. I think that comes at lap 37. 51 lap total race distance. Also, no full course cautions with the exception of the stage. We're on local yellow only. This race should tick off in a hurry, but if we get any kind of small incidents on track, it's not going to throw a yellow. Again, caution flags around this place at 2.45 miles. Going to take some time. Riding on board with Chris Mefford as he looks back at the 89 truck of Brian Rose.
Medford showing he's got some pace here. Him and Brian kind of right there running similar. I remember my first race here, Steve. I was absolutely horrible, and I think I got a 6th place finish.
My first league race here, I won.
Oh, Mr. Bragg here.
Yeah, I think I had to wreck Colt Ainsley to do it. I got into him in the carousel, spun the 86 around, and I went on to win the race. And unfortunately, that was back in the day we ran Cup and ARCA on consecutive days, and I did the same thing the next day to Colt in the ARCA car. I won that one too, but they certainly were not happy about it. So taking a look, Mike Fahey off to pace, already having an issue. Got some guys in the stream chat mentioning on that already. Nobody's going to miss that. Let's take a look, see what happened to the 19. So down into turn number 1. He's just to the outside of Keaton Burnett. Really nowhere to go. He might be late to the brakes here. Does he get into the 6 or just locks him up?
Looks like he may have a little bit of damage before that. Looks like a HUD's popped up.
That might be a paint line, but yeah, he gets crossed up out of 1, over rotates, gets it into the tire pack there. So Fahey running in the 14th spot. And unfortunately, it looks like Andrew Locke did not take the green flag. So Andrew, though he did take time into practice, did not run the event. Zach Millett out to a 4.5 second advantage already. He's averaging a second a lap faster right now. Best lap on the track is a minute 12.68. Pretty close to what he ran in qualifying. Chris Mefford, who has similar pace, he ran some 12s in practice as well. His best lap, a 14.02. Might just be a matter of saving tires to the end, and it looks like everybody within the top 7 are all running in that minute 14 bracket. Zach Millett just kind of in his own zip code currently. Interesting, you see Brian Rose going real wide on the exit of the carousel. That may look odd to some drivers, but that is the line in these cars. few years ago that Watkins Glen International decided to pave that runoff area and push the barriers back a bit, primarily due to a couple of pretty significant wrecks that happened off of that corner, mainly involving, I think it was Jeff Gordon and Jeff Burton and others. Gordon took a hellacious hit. Many drivers brought out the red flag. They had to repair the rail. It was not a fun one, but there wasn't really a whole lot of room, and if you dipped the left sides into the grass, it kind of sent you right across the track into that Armco and then into traffic. Now with the paved runoff, yes, it avoids that issue. But now the guys take advantage of it and use it as part of the line. If it's paved, go ahead and use it. Looks like Alan DeFries had an issue on the track as well. Let's take a look what happened to the 71. Ooh, hard on the brakes. Gets into the Armco on entry to the bus stop and then cross the track. Hits it hard again. That's probably going to do it for the 71. Yep, he exits this session right away. Tough break for Alan DeFries. No, it's not his cup of tea, but the suffering is over for the 71.
Anytime you see that smoke come out of the hood, it's about done for anybody.
Real quick, running in the 4th position. A few truck lengths ahead of Brandon Mefford.
Ooh, somebody's drifting around there.
Was it the yellow truck? That'd be Keaton Burnett.
Yeah, did you see that?
He did about a half a lap of drifting around this place earlier on in the practice session, just kind of messing around, but honestly, it was rather impressive.
That was too. He kept it under control.
Switching over to the drone shot here at Watkins Glen. We've got drones all over the raceway.
Neil getting a little bit of air there.
And looks like Vincent Short having some trouble on the track as well. He's back out there, but with some damage to the nose of the track bar Media Silverado. Let's take a look at it. Soft turn 11, just gets to the power a little too soon. Oh, we've seen that happen before. Not just this sim, but even in real life. Hard impact into the barrier there. That would make a really big mess. If this was a real race in person, those things are full of sand or water, depending on the track.
He's lucky it didn't blow his engine there.
Yeah.
I know he don't want the damage, but he's lucky to be out there still.
Tough break for Vince Short. Usually gets around these road courses very, very well. Puts the time in. Early on in this race here, lap 6, having some trouble. Thomas McMullen with an incident as well. This is between turns 1 and 2. Down turn number 1. Saints of Speed Silverado. Looks good on entry. Gets to the throttle a tick too soon. Gets a tank slap out of the deal. Locks him up. If anything, just kisses the Armco. It's just going to cost him track position more than anything else, but he's back in the race. Call to David Bradford's running in the 8th position currently. He's up 5 spots from the drop of the green flag in just 8 laps.
Is there anything on here that David's not good at?
Broadcasting.
Did he broadcast with you?
I don't know, but if he's that good behind the wheel, he can't be good behind a mic.
He looks smooth around here too.
David is smooth everywhere he goes. Said he may not have the fastest pace on these road courses, but he knows what he's capable of. He knows what the truck's going to give him. And he's going to make sure he gets that out of it. I mean, that alone is worth its weight in gold. Just up ahead of David Bradford, it's the 5 of Mark Truxell. We don't have cautions on tonight, so we're going to just pull up the DNA Restorations logo for the top. They usually sponsor our caution flags. We'll get one of them with the break later on, but we bring it up now because they ride on board the back spoiler there of the number 5 of Mark Truxell. We got to thank Mark for bringing DNA Restorations to the fold here in the Superior Class Auto Racing Premier Series.
I think Zach Miller has a new sticker too.
I hear he does.
That's what I heard.
Problem is, I don't think anybody's going to be close enough to be able to see it.
No, he's out to almost an 8.5 second lead over Medford.
Millett crossing the start-finish line right now, down in the braking zone to turn 1. We're 10 laps in here from Watkins Glen. We're going to step aside, get a break out of the way. We're going to go side by side, though, so you don't miss anything. Stay with us. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Watkins Glen International, virtual Watkins Glen International, Superior Class Auto Racing Premier Series, the Getting After It at the Glen 125, 51 laps in total. 12 laps in currently. Expect these drivers to start hitting pit lane here in the next, 7 or 8 laps. Pretty strict pit window here. Again, 72% fuel load. Looked to be enough to get these guys to about lap 19 or 20 before they just have to come down pit lane. Again, regular cautions, full course cautions are disabled. Admin cautions only. So we'll get a break here at lap 37, but before that happens, these guys are going to have to make a green flag stop to make it all the way to the end of this first stage.
What's the strategy on these pit stops? Tires and fuel?
Don't speed, don't speed. Now, with all that said, there's really not a whole lot of tire wear with this particular road course tire with the trucks, but there is a lot of fall off. You look at Zach Millett, who's the fastest truck on the track right now. Minute 12:68 was his best, but he's 1.2 seconds slower than that last time by. We're only 13 laps in. It's pretty impressive to see that kind of pace even still, but admittedly, Zach was saying early on that tire fall off, you can definitely tell. It's very noticeable. The truck just gets a little unstable. It's not happy under braking for sure, and very unhappy under power. So basically, everything that you want a race car, race truck to do doesn't do well as those tires start to wear. So he's able to turn laps, decent laps, honestly, without changing tires. He could probably make this to the stage without changing a set and save a set just in case, but I don't think he's going to need to. He's got enough raw pace out there. If I'm Zach Millett, at least, my strategy, get to pit lane under green, get in clean, don't speed, 4 tires fuel, get down and out of there. He's likely to maintain the lead through all that, even if drivers opt to say, all right, I'm going to go fuel only just to make it to the end of the stage. I don't think it's going to matter. I think Millett's still going to have the pace.
Yeah, I mean, he's got over a 10-second lead right now, so that would give him time to take the tires if second place decided not to.
Now, you got guys that could opt to short pit the stage, you know, try to hit pit lane before the yellow comes out. But then you got to look at, all right, back it up. Lap 51 to 41. Yeah, they're still going to have enough fuel. So, I mean, that would be a good way to steal some track position if you can get down pit lane before the stage break itself. And I don't know if admins close pit lane prior to the stage or not. But if they don't, it's a good way to steal some track position.
I think we will have a few takers on it if pit road's open. I mean, we have guys that do this on the oval tracks.
Oh, absolutely. Looks like Eddie Rose has crashed. We'll take a look, see what happened there with the 88 truck. Down into the bus stop. You can see the issue, though. He's right down the center of the racetrack. It's not where you want to be lined up to enter, and he gets in there deep. Doesn't get the wall, so nicely job there, but it looks like he doesn't exit. No, he having some connection issues, it seems. Eddie Rose trying to get it gathered back up, being very cautious as to not get into anybody's way that could be coming. Looking both ways. Good job. Eddie Rose off and running again. Very cautious. It's one thing about Eddie, he really has a good time out here. He's not the fastest, but there's times where he has his moments of pace, certainly not on a road course, but he enjoys it. He's out here having a good time. That is really what it's all about. But the biggest thing that he's worried about is he doesn't want to ruin anybody's day, and I can promise you, anybody out there that's raced with Eddie, if he wrecks you, it's not on purpose. He's really trying everything he can to avoid that. Hence it taking him a while to get out of the bus stop.
I thought there was a train going by. He was stopped behind the train.
The gates were down.
Yeah.
Top 5 currently: Zach Millett, Chris Mefford, Brian Rose, Brandon Mefford, Neil Quick. Those positions changed hands. I'm not 100% sure when that was, but Quick was running in P4. Mefford has gone on by. Mefford does have a quicker last lap, about a full second faster than Neil. But their fastest laps between the two of them within 1/100th of each other.
The Mefford boys may be quick here. They're running 2nd and 4th right now.
Quick's running 5th. Brian Rose kind of all by his lonesome right now, which honestly is kind of playing into his strategy. We talked to Brian pre-race, and we asked him what the strategy was for tonight. You know, how are you going to do this? You got a shot at Zach Millett. You got a shot at Chris Mefford. He's like, I don't care about them guys. I'm out here to race this track. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not looking at the times. I'm not looking at the positions. I'm just going to run my race and race the racetrack. And honestly, that seems to be a pretty good strategy. Just go out there, turn some clean laps. He's doing a good job at that. The only time he's really encountering anybody, it seems to be lap traffic. So this kind of gives him that opportunity to just go out here and turn laps until it's over.
Yeah, and Brown does a great job of looking at the bigger picture and not being short-minded. He knows that this is a championship series and this is the playoffs. So that's what he's interested in. He don't care about, obviously he wants to win, but he knows that this is not a track that he is most likely going to win. So he's looking at the big picture, and he's just patient when it comes to that. So much better than a lot of other drivers.
We did see that out of Brian Rose in earlier seasons in SCAR. He always had some pace, but it tended to be he got a little impatient at times, and it kind of cost him some wins over the course of a couple of seasons. It seems that he's corrected those issues. He's got a lot of pace in that truck, but like you said, Eric, the patience is there, and that really is key.
Yeah, I mean, there are times where, he's back in 6th, 7th place, and before you know it, he's up in the top 3. And I think that's his biggest improvement is the patience and letting the race and the truck and the track come to him. I mean, look at him here on a road course running 3rd. I mean, fantastic job by him right now.
Well, that's just another pat on the back to Brian Rose. I mean, as frustrated as he got running the SCAR Radical Series, the 2nd season of our road series, he gave up. He put about 3/4 of it in and says, you know what, I've had enough. I'm not going to embarrass myself. But it helped him. It really has. He's quick in these trucks, which is kind of the main goal, was to get some of these stock car, stock truck, however you want to look at it, guys, a little bit more up to speed in road racing, and it has paid off. You've got guys like Mark Truxell that are certainly improved because of it. He's got plenty of time in road racing, but tends to run, obviously, ovals on a regular. It's helped him. It's helped Brian Rose. It's helped a lot of these guys, Vincent Short being one of them.
Yeah, these guys have picked it up a lot from the last few seasons. I've said this many times. It's all about putting in the time and the work and the effort.
Speaking of time, work, and effort, Cody Harger, basically the SCAR admin here for the Premier Series, running in the number 66 Black Acid Custom Racing Apparel Toyota Tundra. Didn't get a whole lot of practice in tonight, but so far so good. He's up 4 positions, currently in the 10th spot.
Go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I expect these guys to get better, too, as they get out there and race with each other and race this track more. I mean, every lap, I'm sure they're finding something different out, and they're going to get better each lap.
Well, what I usually find in these sessions, especially on road courses, guys go out and practice, and they just try to throw up that top time, and they just spend lap after lap trying to burn that time and make it as fast as you possibly can, and in which you end up wrecking that truck a bunch of times. But who cares? Just hold the escape button down, you're back to pit lane with a new truck, and you go out and have at it again. Come race time, you can't do that. You got to go out, you want to be quick, you want to turn some fast laps, but even Zach Millett, as fast as he was, minute 12:68 his fastest lap, it's not the fastest I've seen him run before, especially in the truck at this track. He was running 11s in the truck, again, in a pre-official practice. But you can't go out there and risk the truck. You've got to get it to the finish. Again, if you want to win the race, you got to finish the race. And you can't do that with a wadded up truck buried halfway into the arm crow.
Yeah, like I was talking about my first race here. I mean, I put in the practice. Me and Brian Rose, it was going to be our first race here. We both put in the practice, and I still wasn't that good, but I was fast enough to where a few cars made some mistakes, and I was able to go up into a 6th place finish. I mean, I didn't do nothing special, but I was just good enough to keep pace to where if something happened, I was there to capitalize on it.
Got Terry Crouch in the stream chat. 2 things. He says, how can you give up on the SR8? Best car ever. The car is a blast. I certainly had a good time with it. It wasn't so much, I think, that Brian didn't like the car. He just didn't like the performance he was having late in the season. Got frustrated with it as well as I would expect him to. As we see Cody Harger hitting pit lane here. This is lap 24 fuel stop. I think everybody's going to be doing this. Let's cover that. Brian Rose in his box as well. Fuel only? Fuel only.
There are 2 sets of tires, correct?
Yeah, 2 sets of tires. Let's see if Cody takes 4 or if he does fuel only as well. No, he's got the left sides going in the air.
I mean, if there are no full course cautions, I don't know why you don't take a set here.
Yeah,
Unless you're planning to make a green flag pit stop and try to run everybody back down, but
I
that'd
just
be
don't.
pretty tough to do.
I mean, Zach Millett, 20 laps in, he just pit his last lap. Well, now it says a minute 25. That's all going to go away, but he took 4 tires. Chris Mefford down pit lane. Terry Crouch is practicing quali and hot lap, is not practicing for a race. 100% accurate. Certainly do agree with that, but unfortunately it seems like a lot of the guys just tend to go out there and try to measure themselves against the next guy and try to put that hot time up there. But in all respects, though, a lot of these guys are putting a lot of practice time in prior to that. Like, I know the HBR guys specifically, they put a practice session up today. It was 3 hours. That was prior to the official session for tonight's race. So they certainly spent the time into it.
Yeah, I mean, going out and getting the fastest lap doesn't mean anything. I mean, we've had people in the SCAR League that would lay back on a super speedway and get the fastest lap, or beat off the wall all the way around to get the fastest lap. I mean, that does you no good when it comes race time.
Through that cycle of pit stops, Zach Millett has stretched his advantage to almost 18 seconds over Chris Mefford. Unbelievable pace out of the 315.
That thing's a rocket ship here.
Sure is. Looks like everyone has completed their green flag stop, so we should be good to go all the way to the end of the stage. Earliest pit stops I seen was lap 18. That was David Bradford and Mike Fahey. If they were out of fuel, those guys are in trouble, because they're not going to make it to the end of the stage if that's their strategy. It's going to put them at lap 36 to pit next time, unless they had a little bit extra in the tank, and that was just kind of how they planned it. We'll have to see how that plays out as we get closer and closer to lap 37.
You know, it could have been for maybe try to gain some track position, pitting early, getting fresher tires sooner.
It's possible, but again, I mean, you look at Zach Millett. He was running, I mean, he's capable of running low to mid 13s on old tires. I mean, he's running a 13 flat the last time by. Let's see if he picks up that pace at all. And he's still gaining. He's still stretching out the advantage on Chris Mefford. Now, again, remember, Chris Mefford says 46 on the side of the truck. In the timing tower to the left, it says 84. That is the number he's supposed to be running. He's got a custom number paint on that truck, so unfortunately it didn't change when he got into the session, because the 46 is David Bradford, just so you know. Well, we are 23 laps in. We are going to step aside again. Another side-by-side break so you don't miss anything. Don't go anywhere, but if you want to, now's your chance. Just come back. Stay with us. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Watkins Glen International, the Superior Class Auto Racing Premier Series, Race 2 of Round 2 of the playoffs. The Getting After It at the Glen 125, presented by HBR TV. Zach Millett has been out front pretty much since the drop of the green flag, continues to lead. May have given up one lap or two during the exchange of pit stops under the green flag, but quickly regains it and is out to a 19-second advantage over the likes of Chris Mefford, Brian Rose, Brandon Mefford, and Neil Quick. Those guys are all heavy hitters. Typically going to see them up into the top 5, but this kind of deficit is just unreal. Millett putting on a clinic here at the Glen.
Yeah, he has this track down pat. Would Steve Singer have anything for him?
Long run, probably not. I mean, I could get close to his fastest lap in practice. I was probably 0.6 slower than his best lap, and that was getting all I could get. I don't know how he does it. I can get close, but there's just no catching Millett, especially in a truck on a road course. He's just that good.
Do we know how long he's been on the platform?
It's definitely 10 years plus. He's right up there with David Bradford as far as sim experience is concerned. Just past halfway here from Watkins Glen. Zach Millett still leads. Healthy margin over Chris Mefford.
I've been keeping an eye on Brian Rose's time, where it looked like he didn't take 4 tires. And it looks like 4th place. It's went down from about a 16-second lead that Brian's had to about a 12-second lead. So really not as much as I thought it would be.
I just don't see the benefit, really, to not take them. You know, the stage is going to come out at lap 37. And we're going to probably run 3-4 laps, maybe under caution. So maybe we'll get the green flag at lap 40-41. So it leaves us with maybe a 10-lap shootout to the end. So, of course, he's going to take tires at the stage. Unless there's a massive pileup on a restart, we're not going to get a caution. So it's just a matter of, the heck with it. Let's just leave a set in the pits. I mean, he's no better or worse than he was. He hasn't lost any spots yet, and he's got about 12 seconds back to Brandon Mefford, really. So, I don't know. I guess it could have gone either way. It didn't help him, and honestly, it's going to make that truck a lot more difficult to drive. It's not that he's losing so much pace, but it's an adjustment. You know, we talked to Brian pre-race, and he did make the comment, I can cool the tires off on an oval. I know what to do there. I can make the truck better. If I abuse it a little bit, I can fix that. But on a road course, I really can't. That's what he was talking about us. And, I explained to him, we got to try this, try that, because the truck is set up completely different than how it is on an oval. You're putting heat into both sides of the truck. You've got to slow it down across the board. Well, again, it's an adjustment. It does mean he's got to slow down. But the truck gets very, very difficult to drive when the tires are worn. They're not going to blow out on him, so they don't show a ton of wear once he finally takes them off. I think he's just making his life difficult.
Yeah, if he gets a podium finish here, we'll definitely have to ask him about that strategy.
Oh, we can ask him either way, but still a ways to go. 24 laps remain. Again, we're still about 10 laps shy of the stage break. Haven't heard a whole lot from Drew Blaze tonight. Drew running back in the 10th position. Again, Drew, a very powerful force out here in the iRacing service. Speaking of guys that have been doing this a long time, it's Drew Blaze. He's currently running in the 10th spot, though. Road racing, not really his cup of tea. I think he actually comes in with a dirt background more than anything else, but you would think that that kind of talent can really help you here on a road course. It doesn't seem to be paying off well right now, as again, he runs in the 10th position. Still on a lead lap, though, about 1:07 behind Zach Millett, the leader right now.
I know the last road course we were at, he done pretty good. That's why I picked him. It looks like he's having his hands full right now.
Well, Drew Blaze looks like he went with fuel only as well. We were just kind of talking about that with Brian Rose, about how difficult the truck gets, as he had a little moment there, almost puts it into the Armco through the S's. Not where you want to have that happen.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's fighting the wheel with every turn he takes.
Let's ride on board with Drew Blaze and see what he's dealing with inside that truck.
Millet's closing in on him, so I'm sure he's putting down the pace a little bit more now. Woo! A little loose there.
Very easy to do off 11, especially with old tires.
Off one. He's doing a great job. I mean, you can tell he's having to really stay on it here.
Chris Goins right to the tailgate of that Toyota. Two Toyota Tundra pros going to battle here at the Glen. Chris Goins, much more familiar with road racing, it seems, than Drew Blaze. We've seen Chris run a lot of side racing as far as whether he's in a sports car, a prototype, maybe some radical stuff. I think he even popped into some GT1 back in the day with the SCAR series. Just putting some pressure on Drew Blaze.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit faster. He just can't seem to get the right time on the track to do it.
Yeah, last lap he was about a full half second faster than Drew Blaze, even though he hasn't been able to make the pass. It's a matter of...
Go ahead, Steve.
It's a matter of being willing to stick the truck where you're not comfortable with it being to make passes on a guy that you know you're faster than, at least for the moment. Now, he makes a mistake there. Blaze is going to give the spot to Chris Goins through the S's. He's still fighting the wheel through the S's. But as we were just kind of saying, you got to wait for a mistake out of the guy in front of you or be willing to put the truck in an uncomfortable position to make the pass, because that's really all the guy in front of you needs to do is just continue to run his line and be clean about it. Yeah, eventually if you get late in the race, you might get punted for it, but at this point with 21 laps to go, probably not. As we watch this though, Zach Millett closing in on Drew Blaze. This is for the lap, not for position.
Looks like Blaze just let him go there.
Oh, I mean, he knows that Millett's fast, and again, Blaze on old tires, he just no way he's going to be able to defend that right now. Looks like Cody Harder has had an issue on track. Let's take a look and see what happened there. Looks like down in the bus stop. Ooh, just turns in a little too early and catches the Armco. Keaton Burnett lucky to avoid contact with the 66. I'm going to back that up and get a different perspective. Want to look at it from Keaton Burnett's onboard. Yeah, this is headed down the back straightaway. Cody Harger just in front of him, and he just turns in too soon, or the rear comes around and he hits the Armco. To be quick through the bus stop, you really need to jump all four tires over that curbing. Great job by Keaton Burnett to avoid that. A lot of that was luck, but he did a good job. You can see he's working the wheel inside the cockpit of that number 26.
He's had some practice with that here, in practice and his race.
It's so like he knew it would come in handy.
Yeah, he was practicing that. We thought he was drifting, but he was practicing.
Well, we're just about ready to be 32 laps in, so about 5 laps shy of the stage break. Let's get a minute here. Let's try and work our way through the field the best we can, at least with our lead lap trucks. Zach Millett started the race on the pole position, currently leads. He's led all but, I think, 1 or maybe 2 laps thus far. Chris Mefford, well, he started outside pole, and he runs second, and that's about where he's been most of the day. Did get credit for leading a lap, maybe 2. Still sits about 23 seconds in the rearview mirror from Zach Millett. Again, stage is going to even that all back up and give us a shootout to the end. Brian Rose also started P3, runs P3. Rose having a good afternoon. Again, he talked about just wanting to race the racetrack this afternoon, not worry about anybody else, just kind of have a solid run and then move on to next week. So far, so good. Brandon Mefford started 5th, currently running in the 4th spot. Had some pace in practice as well. I'm actually really looking forward to this restart here when they get the stage break. I'm curious how aggressive guys are after running, well, about 37 laps under the green flag in race conditions. Neil Quick, the regular season champion, started in P4, has slipped us a position to P5. Still a solid afternoon for the number 2. David Bradford started 13th. He's worked up 7 spots to currently running in the 6th position. Again, not a full-time driver this season, but that's all going to change next season when the Premier Series starts back off. Mark Truxell running in the 7th spot, started P9, so he's up 2 positions. Still a championship contender. Again, you see that by the green numbering system in the timing tower. Truxell, definitely a fan of road racing and doing pretty well at it thus far. Keaton Burnett running in the 8th position, last truck on the lead lap. As much as he said he didn't want to be here because this is just not his cup of tea, he's having a good afternoon so far. I think Zach Millett is going to breathe down his neck here in a minute, though, and he feels that pressure coming. Almost does what Cody Harger did, getting a piece of that arm coat through the bus stop as he worked down through the carousel right now. Got to look out the back window of the 26, and that 315, that S4 guy, Silverado, is definitely looming larger in the rearview mirror. Burnett just burning the rear tires off that thing.
I would say those are shocked.
Need to look for a pass.
He may race that card here to try to stay on the lead line because right above Burnett is Truxell. You know, if Zach catches Truxell, then Burnett's not in line for that lucky dog.
See if Zach Millett gives any favors to Keaton Burnett. He's got a 24.5 second advantage over the 84 of Mefford, so he really doesn't need to push here.
Zach might just pull off from where.
Nope, he missed the bus stop. Millett goes on by as Keaton Burnett misses the bus stop. He's going to have the slowdown penalty. So Keaton Burnett now goes down a lap. Now it's Mark Truxell that is going to have to run for his life. He's got the length of about the short chute to deal with it, maybe a little half.
I think Mark will be all right. I think he'll still be our lucky dog.
And we shall see. We still got a couple of laps before the caution comes out.
Looks like Bradford's got about 11 seconds on Truxell. Looks like Drew Blaze is on pit road.
Does appear that Cody Harger is going to be out of this one. Drew Blaze rolling down pit lane, though. This is kind of what we talked about, short pitting the stage for some track position. This could be the move to make. However, Blaze is a lap down, so it's not going to really help him as far as trying to get back up there. So I don't know what he's going to do here, but either way, down pit lane, he's got to get fuel and tires anyway. Might as well get it done.
I'm not sure. Maybe our second place truck would be the only one that maybe could short pit without going a lap down.
Yeah, I would say, well, it depends. I mean, it's at the completion of the lap that the caution comes out. So, I mean, truthfully, Truxell, well, he doesn't have a shot. Yeah, looking at Brian Rose might be able to do it, but he'd be cutting it really close. He would have to get down and out and stay out ahead of Zach Millett before that caution were to drop. It's doable. He could do it if he was careful.
Bedford may try that. I mean, he don't need the stage points, so he, I think that's a good possibility for him to try.
Yeah, it's a valid point. I mean, I almost kind of hope he does, because it's going to be a fun battle to watch between himself and Zach Millett. Zach ran away from him early on in the race, but that doesn't mean anything. Mefford could have been saving his stuff. Why bother taking a big chance early on in the event? Again, like you said, he's not here for stage points. He's here for checkered flag. So if you play the long game, that could be what he's doing here. Working lap 36 here from Watkins Glen. Zach Millett still out in front to no one's surprise. He's got a 26, almost 27 second advantage over the 84 Chris Mefford. Brian Rose still runs third. Brandon Mefford fourth. Neil Quick fifth. That's relatively unchanged. David Bradford, Mark Truxell sixth and seventh. Those are your lead lap trucks. Again, we've been under the green flag since it first came out. No cautions. Local yellows only. Millett starts lap 37, so I believe it comes out right now. Now, usually it's the completion of 37. It looks like we're just starting 37, but nonetheless. Millett's shutting the truck off. You think he's that close on fuel?
He's had the hammer down, which, burns more fuel. And I think he was one of the later guys to pit. Not the latest, but kind of midway.
Yeah, Eric, he's shutting that truck all the way off going up the hill in the backstretch. So he pitted lap 19. Which you'd think if he got another 19 laps out of that, he would have been good to lap 38, which we haven't quite got to yet. He's going to save a bunch under the yellow flag here. I can't imagine he's going to have a problem getting back to pit lane, but if we stayed green, it would have been a different story.
Maybe he just likes to conserve fuel. I know Brian Rose was like that at one time.
I'm the same way. I mean, no matter what I'm doing, if I'm not at speed, I'm saving fuel. I'm shutting the truck off, putting the clutch in. The thing is not running at all until I'm ready to go again. And it does help. I mean, it's minimal, and it doesn't always mean you're going to be in a fuel mileage race, but it's that much less fuel that you got to worry about packing in the truck or the ARCA car or whatever you're in when it comes time for pit stop. So it can certainly help with that strategy as well. So field working turn 11, pit road is open. See, most of the field hadn't even been caught up yet. So, yeah, I mean, not taking tires, definitely not in the books for Millett at this point. I think he's just going to take them and go. Likely about a 10-lap shootout once we go back to green.
These guys are going to be a lot more aggressive, so you never know what's going to happen these last 10 laps. I mean, whoever comes out in second may get a good run going into 1 and 2 and come out with the lead, and I'm sure they're going to make Millett work to pass them.
Well, Zach Millett about to complete his pit work. He is down and away. Clean stop for the 315. Now let's see if we can bring Zach Millett up into the broadcast booth. See his 1 hour stage. Zach Millett at Steve and Eric in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Steve. How's it going?
It's going well, sir. How's the Sunday drive going for you?
It's nice. We got the windows down. The drink in the drink holder. We're having a good time.
About 125 degrees in the cockpit of that Silverado.
It's a little toasty, yeah.
Well, with that said, got our stage break, 4 tires and fuel. It's going to be full send mode here to the finish, it looks like. Going to have to survive a restart here, though. Chris Mefford, Brian Rose, and then Brandon Mefford, all the top 4 in behind you, all have some pace. They might be able to hang for a half lap, maybe more. Brandon Mefford hasn't really shown much out front, but Chris Mefford showed some pace in practice. Is there something you might be worried about with him going on this restart down into 1?
Well, turn 1's pretty scary all the time. I know these guys are going to want to get in front of me if possible, and that's probably their best chance in turn 1. So I don't know. We're going to play it safe. If they beat me down in there, then that's fine. I'll try and race for the big picture here, get the win, and see what happens.
Should be about a 10-lap shootout to the finish. Obviously not worried about saving fuel or tires anymore. We did see you shutting the truck off coming to pit lane here on the backside of that lap. Were you real tight on fuel or no?
No, I wasn't too bad. I was about 3 laps to the good, but anytime I'm not full throttle or trying to race, I'm conserving as much as possible.
Sounds like what me and Eric were just talking about a moment ago with myself and Brian Rose.
Absolutely.
Well, congratulations on the stage win, man. Good luck the rest of the way, and maybe we'll talk to you post-race.
I hope so. Thanks, guys.
Zach Millett, driver of the 315, winner of stage number 1. Field still getting tidied up behind the Porsche pace car. We are on the 1 to go, but it takes a while to get around here, so we're going to step aside, get a break out of the way, and we'll be back after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Just getting ready to go back under the green flag here from Watkins Glen International. Zach Millett with the lead. Restarting on his inside or outside will be Chris Mefford, then Brian Rose, Brandon Mefford, Mark Truxley, your top 5.
We'll see if anybody tries to be aggressive right here.
Green flag.
Green flag waves are back underway.
Medford all over the back of him right now.
Millett with a good restart, though. Very clean through turn 1. Gets clear of the 46/84.
Rose lost 2 positions there. Looked like Medford got sideways, maybe trying a little too much.
Millett already stretching the advantage to almost a full second through the carousel corner. Chris Mefford can only watch and try to improve. Third place, Brandon Mefford out ahead of Brian Rose. Now Brian Rose, he's got company. David Bradford knocking on the tailgate of the F-150. Again, this is where that discipline's going to come into play. Brian Rose said it at the beginning of the race. I got to race the racetrack. Well, now he's lost 2 spots on the restart. Now the tendency is going to be panic mode. I got to get those spots back. But he's got David Bradford breathing down his neck as well. He's got to be very careful in how he decides what his plan is going to be and how he executes it throughout the rest of this race. With 10 laps to go, Rose hanging on to P4.
David all over him, which, David's going to give him all he's got here. As you can see, David's trying his best to get around him.
Now, it looks like Drew Blaze actually got back on the lead lap. So Blaze currently running in the 9th spot. David Bradford going way wide out of the carousel.
I know Brown wants to get that third position and get a podium finish, so he's going to do everything he can to get past Medford, but like you said, he's got to watch Bradford in his mirrors.
Almost looks like Brian's starting to hold up to 46 just a bit. David's got the pace. Ooh, big wiggle out of Brian Rose through the S's. He's watching his mirrors for sure.
I was getting ready to say, you think maybe he's kind of rode by himself most of the race in third place, and now having somebody in his mirrors maybe getting to him a little bit?
I mean, it doesn't help. I mean, no matter how good you are, you're going to pay attention to that guy that has closed the gap and now sits a truck length behind you, and you know David's fast. Now, you see David goes really wide there off the exit of the carousel. There is speed to be had there. You see him close down into Brian Rose here into turn 10. Oh, Brian gets the grass. Gets crossed up. He's going to go a little wide here on exit. Give the spot to David Bradford. Brian Rose having some struggles.
Yeah, it seems like, you know, he ran a great race, mistake-free up until this point, and he's got a little bit out of his rhythm and making a few little mistakes.
With Bradford going on by, Brian's got to regroup. Kind of refocus his efforts here. Obviously, he's got the ability behind the wheel of that truck, but pressure was on. He talked about it. There was a race last season. Cody Harger closed up behind Brian Rose while Brian was leading the race, and well, Cody Harger said, "Hey, Brian, your taillight's out." These trucks don't have taillights, obviously, but it was enough to get Brian off his game, and he ended up wrecking right away. Got to get out of your head, get back in a rhythm, refocus your efforts.
Like he may have scraped the wall.
Yeah, it looked like he might have caught a piece of the Armco on the entrance to the bus stop.
Which hopefully should be fine as long as it didn't knock it out line or anything. And I don't think it did. You can see the hood's popped up just a little bit. The front fender bent just a tad.
Now we got to see if Neil Quick's going to close down the gap on Brian Rose. Quick's about 10 seconds behind Zach Millett, but half a second behind Brian Rose. Looking at Mark Truxell here again. He finished the stage, restarted in the 5th position. Currently runs back in the 7th spot, though. Still 2 positions above where he started today.
Mr. Consistency there. Seems like he's always consistent and always does a great job of keeping the truck out of trouble.
100%.
Keeping it towards the front.
Truxell is definitely one that you want in your truck if you're trying to have a consistent season. Obviously not damage it. You know, we ran some races, a whole lot of races actually last season in the Radical series, and through all of the races, Mark made every one of them, turned the most laps out of everybody in the field, and had the least amount of incident points and off tracks out of everybody, and it wasn't even close. Let's check on our lead lap. What's that?
I was just saying he done a great job of saving that. Coming out turning 11.
Let's take a look at our lead lap truck starting in the back. 10th, Mike Fahey. After an early race crash, still managed to get the truck fixed. Not so great looking, but it's out there. Still on the lead lap in the 10th position. Drew Blaze managed to get a lap back through the stage brake caution. Runs in the 9th position currently. Kind of all by his lonesome. Next on the hit list, though, it's Keaton Burnett in the number 26. Drift King himself. Keaton closing down on Mark Truxell here for the 7th position. Keep an eye on this battle for a moment. Is the battle for 5th position starting to heat up between Brian Rose and Neil Quick as well.
Keaton's there. I just don't know if he's going to be able to pass it.
It's going to set him up for turn 1 here. Mark is pulling a defensive line here. Smart move, run about a car width or a truck width to the inside. Don't open the door for Keaton to try and outbreak him into 1. But so far, this battle looking pretty good. About a truck length and a half between Neil Quick and Brian Rose, just ahead of these two.
Keaton giving that truck everything it's got.
Super loose through the S's.
Every time we put the camera on him, he's sliding it.
Battle for 5th shaping up once again. Brian Rose, Neil Quick. Two good battles on the track for 5th and for 7th.
Keaton sideways coming out. I think if he could keep the back end under him, he could make the pass.
Brian Rose gets out of turn 11 with a good run, puts about 2 trucks between himself and Neil Quick. Battle still a little hot and heavy here for this position. Truxell still has the 7th spot. The dive down into turn 1. Keaton overdrives it. Too much brake into the 1, and he goes way to the outside. He's going to try and gather it back up. Does he make the pass with this? He might have pulled this off. Big time move. There's a fine line you got to run there. You definitely got an off track for it, but if you go too far, they give you a slowdown. Big time move into turn 1. Late on the brakes was Keaton Burnett. He slides it around. Takes the position away from Mark Truxell. Apparently no slowdown, so he didn't go too far out of bounds. Brian Rose still fending off Neil Quick. So hard to pass, but Neil's to the inside, taking a look down into turn number 10. Does he have the position? He's not lifting. Goes to the outside to make the corner. Loses some track position. Now 2 trucks behind Brian Rose. He's going to make it up on the outside of 11. Trying to set him up for the run down the front straightaway, side by side through turn 11. Takes the spot away.
I think maybe Brian's truck's not handling like it was earlier. He just don't look as smooth as or the truck don't look as comfortable out there right now.
Well, definitely not. And again, like you said early on, he didn't have any pressure really to deal with the first portions of the race. He was able to work the strategy that he came in and planned for, just race the racetrack. But now he's kind of forced to race these guys. They're coming up on him. They're taking positions away. He was a 3rd place truck all afternoon, but now he sits in the 6th spot. Now, the impact that he had with the inside Armco entry to the bus stop, which he's about at right now, may not be helping things, and he almost does it again.
Yeah, I don't know if he's rattled or maybe a little rattled and the handling issues with the truck, but something's definitely not right.
Well, I will say this much. When I was racing on a regular basis and there was a broadcast, I never listened to the broadcast during the race because every time they'd say my name, I wouldn't pay attention to what I was doing and I'd go off track, I'd hit the wall. And I think Brian's listening to the broadcast, so we're just going to avoid talking about Brian here and we're going to move on to the next driver. Zach Millett still out in front, 3.7 second advantage over the 84 of Chris Mefford. Don't know if he's just kind of running his laps here, not pushing. Certainly doesn't seem it. Last lap, a minute 13.74 for Zach Millett. Not significantly faster than Mefford. We're talking maybe a 1/10 of a second, but with 2 laps to go, a 4-second advantage, he doesn't need to push. He just needs to get home, take that checkered flag.
Looks like we may have a battle for 3rd.
Brandon Mefford runs 3rd. David Bradford looking to pick up a top 3.
Bradford is ready now, so we'll see if Bradford can do it here on the last lap.
David pulling 3rd gear real early.
was able to make up some ground there. And whoa.
Oh, Mefford way early on the brakes, caught David by surprise. That's going to hurt him. I don't know if that was just a ploy for him to gain some space, but with 1 lap to go, it might be all Mefford needed to maintain that 3rd position.
Reverse psychology there.
Well, it was that or dump the 83, one or the other. It was kind of a brazen move for Mefford. I don't know if he did it intentionally or if he just missed his braking and got in too early. But if it was anybody besides David Bradford, I think that he would have been into the back bumper of that number 83 truck.
Would you have lifted?
Would I have lifted? No, ask Cole Ainsley if I would have lifted. He about parked in the middle of the carousel and I ran him over both days. Sorry, Colt, if you're listening, man. I really didn't mean to wreck you.
Sounds like he did, Colt.
I was too new. I didn't want to make anybody mad. Zach Millett through turn 10 for the final time. Straightens the truck out, looking at the final right-hander here at Watkins Glen. From the pole position, he won practice, he won qualifying, and he's going to win the race. Checkered flag waving here from Watkins Glen. Zach Millett takes it.
Done a little show-off right there, too.
Chris Mefford's going to finish up in P2. Oh, Bradford caught Mefford off turn 11. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. No, Bradford tucks in behind, still finishes P4. Probably was not pleased about that move out of the 83, but it is what it is.
I thought we was going to have a side-by-side battle for the 3rd.
I tell you, if that lock-up into 11 didn't happen, we would have had a battle. I honestly think that David had a little bit left in the tank to make that pass, just unfortunately had to get on the brakes awfully hard to avoid contact.
Zach Millett showing why he is the road course king this season.
You know, we talked about it earlier, I think, but Millett loves these trucks, and he is so good on road courses. It's just, it's almost an unfair fight.
He's gotten pretty good at those gauntlets. Oh!
Whoops.
Got a little happy there.
Well, you got into the wake zone. We're going to step aside, get a break out of the way, get our top 3 finishers in the booth. Stay with us, folks. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Watkins Glen International, the Superior Class Auto Racing Premier Series. Race 2 of round 2 of the playoffs, won now by Zach Millett. Locks himself into the next round. Second place, Chris Mefford. Brother Brandon Mefford finished in P3. We're going to get Zach Millett up into the broadcast booth right away and get a word with our race winner. Zach, it's Steve and Eric in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going well. We talked to you at the stage break. Set you guys up for a 10-lap shootout to the finish. Quick work. You disposed of the 84/46 of Chris Mefford on the restart. And it seemed like you were kind of leisurely about the laps for the next 10 laps. Enough to keep pace and keep a gap between yourself and Chris, but really wasn't throwing down any flyers. Tell us about those last 10 laps and then recap your race for us.
Yeah, Steve, I've learned a little bit to not completely push it if you don't have to. So I was trying to save a little bit there just in case, there was some big pile up and we had a restart. So yeah, it worked out good. Had just enough pace to stay ahead and pull, a 10th or so a lap just for like a safe zone. But yeah, it worked out good. Flat traffic was an issue. Everybody was real good about it. And yeah, it turned out great.
Definitely a good race to watch, and there wasn't a whole lot of battles out in front for the top spot. Obviously, the initial start, then the restart, and that was really about it for you. But great battles throughout the field. We saw Brian Rose. Unfortunately for him, he lost that top 3 finish. He ended up being relegated to P6 after a short battle with Neil Quick, and then Keaton Burnett made some moves on Mark Truxell. There was some good battling throughout the field, so don't worry. You didn't stink up the show too bad.
Well, good. I'm looking forward to going back and watching it for sure.
So I do have to ask, though. I mean, obviously you ran really well here tonight. You always do on the road courses, but especially in the truck. What is the secret sauce with these two, whether it's the truck, the road course, the combination of the two? Tell us what makes you so quick around this place.
I say it to some guys, and it doesn't make sense to some, but slow is fast, I feel like. You don't want to overdo it. If you push too hard one lap, it's going to kill you for the next 3 or 4. So I just try to hit your apexes without trying to slide all 4 tires, and if you can do that and get a good exit for these straightaways, you're going to have a pretty decent lap no matter what.
It's definitely sound advice. Go slower to go faster. It is 100% true. It's just, you want to give it a baseball analogy. Be quick, but don't hurry. It's what we used to tell the infielders back in the day. Don't waste your time, but if you rush the throw, you're going to screw up the throw. And in this case, we talk about racing. If you rush the corner, you're going to screw up the corner. It makes sense if you ask me. Does that apply, you think?
Absolutely. I'm writing that down right now.
Analogies for later. Speaking of later, next week we roll into Michigan with the truck. I don't know if that's your favorite place or not, but what are your thoughts rolling into the 2-mile Michigan Speedway?
Well, first and foremost, not jump any restarts. That'd be a good start. Brian and I both did pretty well at the LSR Series Michigan race, so I'm looking forward to it. If we can get another finish like that, minus that penalty, I'd be real happy about it.
Got Mike Fahey in the stream chat saying, I call BS. I was running pretty slow.
I love Mike.
Well, either way, Zach, congratulations on the victory here at the Glen. Really a good sight to see, not just you, but all these guys spending the time here at the road course. I know it's not everybody's favorite. It is my favorite to watch and to run. I wish I could have been out there with you guys, maybe tried to give you some competition, but I don't know if I had anything for you either.
Oh, you always do, Steve. You're always right there with me. It's always fun.
Yeah, well, they're watching. Zach, congratulations. Do you have anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you, Steve, and Eric for not only being on the truck tonight, but for the podcast and HBR TV. I'd like to thank Cody for always organizing everything and keeping us in line, and Scar, Track Bar Media, and shoot me a follow on Twitch, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram at that S4 guy.
All right, Zach, good luck next week at Michigan.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, Zach Millett, your race winner. Next, we're going to pull the 84/46 up into the broadcast booth. That would be Chris Mefford. We're trying to get it straightened out here just because the numbers don't match. But either way, we got him. Second place, Chris Mefford. Congratulations. It might have been the position that everybody was really fighting for tonight. It seemed like Millett had pace on everybody. Was there anything in your bag of tricks that you could have done to reel in Millett late?
Well, I could have wrecked him going to 1. But no, I was telling Brandon, as Noah Grayson would say, I drove my balls off those last 10 laps. I turned my fastest lap, 42. So did Millet. So did Brandon. So we was all pushing. And at the end of the race, I looked back and I pulled over about a 10-second lead on third place, and obviously Millet had about a 20. So dude was on rails. I was trying to stay with him to maybe get one of that ringer to make a mistake, but as well as I do, them ringers very rarely make mistakes.
Yeah, Millet very, very smooth around this place for sure. You've been pretty smooth yourself through many of these races, Chris. I know you're not here working for a championship, just trying to get some checkered flags, but there's always next year. Are you going to run Michigan next week?
I'm not sure. It's going to depend on work. Everything depends on work nowadays. I might be there, probably be there. Just try to have some fun and earn the respect of these guys. I'm not sure. I mean, at the points I got, hopefully, the least amount I can get. But tonight was just a couple off tracks, which was actually just taking the corners a little wide. But I'm going to try to be there next week. I know there's going to be a bunch of guys to beat there, so it should be a fun race.
All right, Chris. Well, again, congratulations on P2. Definitely had some pace out there, just not quite enough to reel in the 3:15. Second place will have to do. It's still a respectable finish. Again, a lot of guys just don't know how to get around these road courses. It can be quite difficult, and you've seemed to figure it out.
Yeah, it's something else. It's all about breaking and downshifting and being smooth. After that first round of pit stops, I was like, man, I'm going to try to push it. And then I was like, well, I'm gaining not even close to enough. So I was like, I'm just going to sit here and ride and keep my truck in one piece, knowing there was a stage caution, and try to go after them then.
All right, Chris. Well, again, congratulations. We hope to see you next week at Michigan. We're going to let you go, but before we do, anyone you want to shout out to?
Yeah, thank you guys from HBR TV for the broadcast. Congrats to Zach for spanking everybody. Everybody needs a good spanking every once in a while. Congrats to Brandon. He hates these road courses. I guarantee you, if you ask him if he loves these road courses, he's gonna tell you he hates them. Shout out to the sponsors on the truck: Ellie's Place, Sim Speed Shop, 5-Star Graphics, Zoe's Place, Racer Riley. We race for a lot of charities, so it's kind of cool to have the broadcast and be able to shout them out. So thanks to Harger and all the admins for allowing me to race in this league and putting up with me.
Well, we're glad to have you here, Chris. Congratulations again. Good luck next week if you make it to Michigan.
Thank you, sir.
It's Chris Mefford, your second place finisher. Next, we're going to bring Brother Brandon up into the booth. Brandon, it's Steve and Eric in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Congratulations on a top 3 finish here at the Glen. I know you love road course racing, so it was to no one's surprise to see you up there in the top 3.
Yeah, we could throw these in the trash and never step foot on them again if for all I care.
They are certainly a completely different discipline, but again, I'm the opposite. I absolutely love the road courses, especially in stock cars or trucks for that matter. They are a lot of fun in sports car stuff too, but I don't know. There's something about trying to wheel these things around here that's challenging, and that's kind of what makes it fun. You seem to be pretty decent at it. Again, you bring the truck home P3 behind your brother, who's clearly pretty good at it too.
Yeah, Chris taught me a lot in the last year or so about this road racing. We're nowhere near some of you ringers, but I do enjoy it. I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy it. I struggled to even have a shot at winning. So, the competitor in me will keep having me come back, but I still would rather stay on the circle tracks.
Well, you started today in the 5th position, I believe. You restarted the race at the end of the stage. I think it might have been P4, P5. You made a couple of passes there late. Tell us about that. And there was an issue there, I think, coming to the white, getting into turn 11. I don't know if you were just early to the brakes or maybe playing a little mind games with David Bradford, but he had to get on the binders hard to avoid contact, and you drove away down the front stretch. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I was actually 4th, I think, on that last restart, and Brian Rose just didn't drive it off in the corner like I expected, so I let the truck roll and cleared him coming off that first corner and went on to watch the other 2 guys drive away from me. But, just try to stay consistent. I think I drove the truck a little too hard, so I lost a little bit there the last 4 or 5 laps. And out of nowhere, there comes that 46 truck, and got me out of my concentration, and I went into that last corner and I braked probably 2 trucks too soon. But I didn't even realize he was there, so I just kind of happened to look up, see where he was at on exit, and I saw him sideways, and I thought, man, I hope I did not chop him down. But the way I missed my corner, I guarantee he was trying to stick it in there or something. But I knew the next lap I had to go in there and block the bottom, and he still was able to roll the bottom and get up underneath of me to have a great run down the front straightaway for that 3rd place spot. So great racing by him, great heads up play, or move to not wreck us both there coming to the white. So heads up to him.
Yeah, watching it from our perspective, he definitely did you a solid to not get into you there into the turn 11 coming to the white. That's David, though. Again, he's not running full-time right now. He knows you're out here running for a championship. He certainly, regardless of what happens, does not want to take out one of those guys, you being one of them. Next week, we go to Michigan. I know you did, I think, was your charity race there at Michigan?
Yeah.
So, obviously, you picked that track for a reason. Is it kind of a mainstay for you? Is it a track you do it really well at? Tell us about it.
Yeah, actually, we picked that track because, one of our places we're racing for is up there in Michigan, and then also Michigan provides some really good racing, 2 and 3 wide racing, and this year we chose the trucks because, they drive really well there. It's almost like a super speedway, but not so much. But other than that, I really, really like the track. Had a shot at winning that race there for the benefit, but I'm hoping to pull something out of my butt here to get locked into that the 8.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to it, Brandon. We are excited to go to Michigan Speedway next week. Good luck to you there. Thanks for talking to us. Congratulations on P3. We'll let you go here, but do you want to shout out before we do?
Yeah, shout out to everybody here in the SCAR League. It's been a lot of fun. I think I've been in here for 16 races now and just had a stinking blast. So thanks everybody for letting me get in here, all the sponsors that put this together, you guys for broadcasting it, and then I gotta thank my family for allowing me to take the time out to have some fun and relax, if that's what you call it, and then my Falcon teammates who like my brother out here teaching me how to do some things so I can run up front with these guys. So thanks.
All right, Brandon. Thanks for chatting with us, man. Congratulations. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
It's Brandon Mefford, your 3rd place finisher here from the Glen. Let's take a look at our official race results. Of course, your race winner, Zach Millett. Chris Mefford was 2nd. Brandon Mefford 3rd. David Bradford locks up a top 5 in the 4th position. Neil Quick takes the spot from Brian Rose. He finishes 5th. Brian Rose, of course, finished in the 6th position overall. Keaton Burnett, for a place that he doesn't really like, road courses in general, was just going to say, hey, can I just drift around here all day? He had a pretty good run. Made a good move around Mark Truxell there late in the race. Looked like a mistake at first, but he get back to the throttle, goes way to the outside to make the pass. Didn't get the slowdown penalty, so he must have been just right on that line. A good run for Keaton Burnett. Mark Truxell finished P8. Held his composure during that incident with Keaton Burnett. No contact, I don't think, was made between the two of them, but Mark did not overdrive the truck after the pass to try and make up the time. Settles for the 8th position. Drew Blaze, not a great afternoon for Drew. It wasn't bad, it wasn't great, it was just kind of mediocre. Finished in the 9th position. Still a solid top 10, but I think he started 7th on the day, so never good when you go backwards, but he's certainly probably looking forward to Michigan Speedway next week. 10th went to Mike Fahey. Chris Goins brought home the number 6 truck in the 11th position. Vincent Short, a tough afternoon. Contact early on with the pit wall definitely made his night very long and difficult. Eddie Rose finished P13. Cody Harger with an incident in the bus stop. He finished 14th. Thomas McMullen also with an issue. Looked like his was outside turn number 1, but he was 33 laps down. I don't know if he had another problem on track, but either way, a tough night for Thomas McMullen. Alan DeFries, an early incident for him as well. 49 laps down, P16. And Andrew Locke, unfortunately, did not take the green flag. We were certainly looking forward to seeing what he could do out here with some road course racing background in his repertoire. But unfortunately for the 25, did not make the start. So those are your race results here from the Glen. A pretty good crowd of cars, or trucks for that matter, to make it out here. I was kind of concerned. I expected maybe 10 trucks. Given that it's a road course, we've only got 8 guys really eligible for the championship right now, or 12 for that matter. I don't know. Eric, what do you think about tonight's race? I mean, it was kind of what we expected, don't you think?
Yeah, I think it definitely lived up to what we thought it would be. Seen some guys who may have got away with a better finish than what we thought they would, and some with a worse finish. So you never can tell about these races. That's why you got to watch it out from start to finish.
You know, I'll steal a line from old Chocolate Myers, is you don't take the hats to victory lane until the race is over, and that's kind of the case with some of the drivers out there. And I got to pick on Brian Rose just a little bit. He still had a solid day, just couldn't get the whole race together, and that's kind of what he was saying early on. He said, I can't put a whole race together for some reason. He ran top 3 all afternoon long. It was after the stage was over that just couldn't get back in their rhythm, and you mentioned it too, Eric. He just couldn't stay up there in that top 3, started to shed positions, had to bring it home P6. Still a respectable finish, but certainly not the one he thought he was going to have, and personally I don't think the one that he really deserved. He ran a great race tonight, unfortunately just didn't get to finish to show for it after the fact.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he probably thought he was going to be a top 3 truck, and there after that pit stop just didn't work out that way.
So we'll take a look at the points that we had coming into tonight. Of course, we are in the playoffs. Zach Millett was 2070 over Neil Quick. Then Drew Blaze, Brian Rose, Brandon Mefford, Chris Goins, Thomas McMullen, Mark Truxell, Vincent Short, Keaton Burnett, Rob Hattenbach, and Mike Fahey. When Hattenbach did not make the race tonight, had prior obligations. Can't blame him for that. It is what it is. Life does get in the way sometimes of just some of the fun things, but I'm sure he's having a good time regardless. With that said, it does appear that we have points already updated. I don't have a graphic for you, but just to run through the current top 5 and some details. Of course, Zach Millett locking himself into the next round of the playoffs, as well as Neil Quick has locked himself into the round of 8. So only 6 spots remain, but right now, standings wise, and it's kind of irrelevant for our top 2, it's Zach Millett with 21-27, Neil Quick 21-04. Brandon Mefford moves up a spot into P3. He's got a 20-92. Brian Rose does stay in the 4th position, does not lose a position in the points. He's at 20-90. Drew Blaze, though, a tough day. He loses 2 spots in the points, slipping to 5th with 20-87. Chris Goins, 6th position, stays where he's at, 2075 point total. Mark Truxell moves up a spot, even though he loses that position in the race, to Keaton Burnett at 2073. Keaton Burnett up 2 positions in the 8th spot, 2068 his point total. Thomas McMullen 9th, down 2 spots, 2065, tied with Vincent Short for that 9th position. And then Mike Fahey and Rob Hattenbach. Hattenbach's going to be pretty much in a must-win situation, it appears, next week at Michigan, but I expect he'll be a challenger for that win. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen that before where a driver needed to win to get in. I think it was it Will Hewitt this year or somebody had to win to get in, and he went out there and drove the wheels off of it and done what he had to do. So I think it's absolutely possible that we can have that happen with Hattenbach.
Well, we'll see what happens. Certainly, guys have to tune in to find out next week, Tuesday, here on HBR TV, YouTube, HBR TV 1, no longer broadcasting on the Facebook side of things, only on the YouTube platform for the time being, and it may stay that way, but we'll still have all the posts, the stream links, and all that popping up on the Facebook side, so don't just stop watching over there as far as what's going on. The race broadcasts on YouTube, but the details will be still over on the Facebook side. I'm going to say thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for guys in the stream chat for chiming in. We had a pretty good crowd here tonight. Again, I apologize about the subscriber mode still being on. I don't know why it keeps defaulting to that. I've turned it off numerous times. I just might have to start from scratch next week, and we will do just that. Hopefully it's back up and running so that everybody can participate, though we do wish that you subscribe, like, follow, share, and turn on notifications here at HBR TV. It's really the best way to follow the platform, follow the channel, and it does help expand this channel and its broadcasts out to a wider audience. For Eric Dotson, I'm Steve Singer, congratulating Zach Millett for taking the win here in the Getting After It at the Glen 125, presented by us at HBR TV. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night.